Everybody dance with me. Woo! What a beautiful day it is today. I love you like la 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 la. I love you like la 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 la. Ah, beautiful you all. Wow. In case you missed it, we were live under doing sensitive content under Zoom. But let me introduce myself. I am AuroRa. I am the founder of A.U.R.A Hypnosis, as well as the author to Galactic Soul History of the Universe, which you can find under Amazon, in ebook, and in paper. Also under audiobook under my website. It's very powerful content, divinely powerful content that will awaken you even at another different level. It continues to shift and raise your vibration and light and understanding, because it is the memory of our universe and the memory of many different souls that shared their journey here through the book. And it teaches you, starts beginning to teach you of the inverted matrix, so you can start removing yourself from it, so that you can step into the organic blueprint, your original blueprint. Yes, so check that out. I also offer courses and sessions. I offer aura hypnosis, entity removal, past life regression, self-healing technique, as well as raw Reiki, which is as well self-healing as well, which higher self works with you and self-healing. And then there's also quantum galactic Akashic readings. You can find all this information under my website, risingphoenixaurora.com. Go to Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, and subscribe there. And also, to support this video and all that we do, go to Patreon under Rising Phoenix Mystery School to support us just for $4 a month, and you get to have a live Q&A with me, private Q&A with a group, and guided meditations. Love to see you there as well. Join us at our next retreat, in-person retreat, which is in Siesta Key in January, where we're going to teach you how to remove yourself from the inverted and walk your most organic timeline and path. And you do this, we teach you the foundation, but you do this, your higher self teaches you all of this. It's profound. And then also our next online workshop that teaches the same that we just spoke about is in the next month in November. Love to see you there. It will transform and change your world. Read the reviews. They're infinite under aurapractitioners.com, or read them under my website, risingphoenixaurora.com, or watch the playlist, of which we have over about 30 videos alone under YouTube with people's video testimonials. Okay, love to see you. All right, I'd love to meet you. Thank you for being here. Very important galactic series of the Mayan Atlantean series, the next key to what is to come. And it is profound. We are going to be talking about Babylon and its immensity and its beauty. So thank you. Make sure you hit like right now, because that helps the algorithm to ensure that we get more views. So click it now, okay? And share it everywhere. Okay, we're gonna get started here. We have Gina, who is here. Go ahead and say hi, Gina. Tell us where we can find you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Gina. You can find me at clearheartsoflove.com. I also have a Rumble and a YouTube, also under Clear Hearts of Love. You can also find me under the Aura Practitioners website, where you can find a whole list of other practitioners who practice Aura, Raw Reiki, and Galactic Akashic readings. And you can find not only myself, but others that you might be able to connect with there. So love you all.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gina. Thank you. What a joy. Okay, we're going to get started. Lots of knowledge to share. If you haven't had a chance to write your questions, write them now in chat. Write question right before, and then Gina, and we have Minnie as well in chat, will be keeping track of these questions for us. So thank you to them for assisting us, and thank you for all of you in our live chat who are helping with your beautiful love and hearts to help deliver these most important transmissions. We deliver live every Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. Love to see you there, see you here regularly if you are not regularly here. We just recorded a very profound video that took us longer than anticipated because of how intense and strong the content and deep it was. So make sure you watch it. It help you will understand. The title to it is Celebrities, the Price of the Spotlight. So you want to watch that under rumble.com. I'm going to post that in a couple hours under rumble.com so you can see it there. Okay, all our sensitive content, you can go to my website now and go to Rising Phoenix or AuroRa.com and type in your email pop-up window, and then you'll be able to be part of our sensitive content that we record live on Zoom, and then we upload to Rumble. So if you want to be part of that live, go put your email there now. Okay, thank you. Let's get started. So we'll let who's going to speak, let it be a surprise once more, and let's just flow and let's have some fun, you all. Feeling hot and spicy and sexy. Ooh. Okay, here we go. That's how she feels, the energy. But yeah, I could zone and channel that too as well, right? We all gotta channel our divine sexiness. Okay, whether we're male or female, we got this. Okay, so let's get started. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna go in now. That's how her energy helps me feel like, ooh, I could just do anything. And yeah, may she assist you in helping you achieve that level as well. How invincible we are. All right, here we go. So in case you're new to our channel, I am surrounded by source love light, and that is all that is allowed. The intention of that, we teach all the how to shield yourself with your source love light through all our courses in our website. So that is what is within me and around me and part of me. You can feel the love. Every time we channel, you can feel the love and its intensity of sovereignty. Just going to take a couple deep breaths and we're going to get started with today's transmission. Here we go. AuroRa, 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 AuroRa. AuroRa. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times over again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. And I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. Greetings everyone, let's rise. I am Goddess Ishtar and Nana. I am back in Nana, in Nana, in Nana. I am back. It is such an honor to be here with you. In our previous transmission, we were only able to deliver part of our content, and now we're going to go into Babylon, which I am, you can say, the creator, the channel to it, the visionary to it. Wow. What a grand most time it is to be here with you once more speaking. Wow. So in our previous transmission where we spoke of Sumerian times, and you got to receive an introduction to Ishtar and Anai. You got to learn of our beginnings and the beginning of the Anunnaki, which I do not once more consider myself part of that. I am an expression of Divine Mother, very much in and in full, strong embodiment into this essence and embodiment of Babylon. So it did begin with my father being negative polarized Enki, which would then we also clarified that he did turn positive polarized. But he was Anunnaki dark forces when I came into the expression, and with my love in my heart, I helped positive polarize him and my mother in that time and space. Now we're speaking of in a reign, as we did, I did lead our times of Sumerian, times of Mesopotamian, times of Babylon. And I begin the new era of the Babylon. Such powerful transmission we are meant to be delivering to you today to remind you that you most likely have been in this moments and times and spaces as you were there, especially many of you who survived, who overcame the light, and who also might have also been controlled by the inverted of the fall of Atlantis, how you then were given the second opportunity in Babylon in the Sumerian times. This was your second opportunity. What path would you choose, and where would you begin? Once more forth into the organic or the positive. Now, Babylon is a sacred lands of you would call it Iraq now. There's many sacred lands around, like Jerusalem is near as well. Even Egypt is not too far from here. But it was the beginning of how can we build a civilization once more so that we could leave those pieces and those coding and light codes behind, so that when in the future they could remember us once more, and they could remember that you can remember the civilization once more, so that you can bring forth the light once more. Though your light is at a higher peak of us in our time and spaces, we were slightly lower than you in this time, because we were in that in between of just in the in between realms of we were beginning to try to overcome the inverted AI Archon virus and to step into the organic blueprints of Mother Earth. Therefore, we were anchoring very much the bifurcation that we have spoken prior. Therefore, we began to build our civilization. Once my father Enki began thousands and thousands within these Sumerian lands, turned into the Babylon, the ending era of the Sumerian times, where I was the leader for thousands of years. A leader, though, in great humbleness and equalness to all the people. A leader where we lead in love, we lead in sovereignty, we lead in divine and in love and respect for one another. That is the leader. And then we that is what I speak of in leader. I was also very much a spiritual being that was strong in sovereignty, or a revolutionist, as you would see, a being who would anchor in strong source of light. We begin to build our era, our time and space, as we knew that outside our, say, walls, our sacred boundaries and walls, there were people who were not perhaps fully in the love light that we began to create. And keep in mind, like I said, it was thousands of years, so it took a lot in the making, thousands of years. We also knew that beneath these sacred lands, there are sacred waters that lie within the inner earth, but also directly linked. We are going to slow down our speech. Directly linked under the ecosystem of the trees, where there are sacred spring waters, and there is a positive portal that is anchored here, and it was being held by our divinity in that time and space, that it is still also being activated in your time and space, and has come forth in this year of 2022, the 222, where we've talked about in the past relations, twin flame unions, children coming forth in strong starseed love light energy. This portal has been open in this time and space, and has been open very recently, and we will not share exactly when that was, but there has been work that you all have been listening to get these portals opened up by Divine Mother and Divine Father, essences and fractals. one of the reasons why they wanted you to stop traveling in the time and space where when they kept you home, we'll be careful with what we speak of, where they kept you locked up in your homes, was because you were awakening the earth too vast and too fast. They were trying to slow that time down. So now that you are able to become freely and know that in the future you will not allow this kind of control, and the vast majority of humanity, if they ever try to pull something off like keeping you home like this, you will not allow it. No, stand this strongly and hold this organic blueprint and timeline, and help the collective to shift this in case they ever do try to try a plan, inverted plan, as one you have just overcome. Okay. Now, yes, going back to these magic waters, it is you could envision like a pool of water, that is crystalline energy. Into every single soul and child that comes forth and is born has to come through, and we feel comfortable to be able to share the sacred knowledge. This is very deep sacred knowledge. We're talking about high council, like ancient people of Earth, Atlantis. We're sharing this with you now so that you can know, especially those of you who are parents to be in the future, either even decades future or in the now, who are expecting children in the future, who are looking to bring your child in true divinity and pure light. Know that the soul emerges out from the pyramids from inside of Earth, the double-sided, pointed, double terminated diamond shaped pyramids we talked about in the Lion's Gate channeling, and how they emerge out from this, and how they shoot out like stars once they've cultivated in these energies of Earth. They shoot out through this portal, this plasmic crystalline waters, sacred waters that are located here in these Persian lands, and they shoot out through this portal of Babylon waters. And why do you think it's called Babylon? Because we began to anchor that. Why is baby in Babylon, right? Because baby souls actually emerge out from this space. This is where the majority of all souls emerge and blossom out, to then enter into the wombs of the mothers and the fathers energies, and where then they continue to cultivate and merge with the mothers and fathers, and then they starseed out. Also have emerged out from here. Now, in times and spaces, some of these Babylon waters were compromised and were infringed upon by these dark black magic spells, and we've talked about in the past, and the children would have to come forth in a denser reality, denser vibration. However, depending also on the vibration of the mother and father, and they have to be a matching vibration, not only to this density of these waters, sacred waters, but also a matching vibration to the mother and father. So if you could envision, it's like a portal, a spring of water, and babies are shooting out, and they're so adorable, and they go into the mother's womb. And yeah, so you are the guardians of these spaces. Know that and feel it. Many of you are guardians, saving the children throughout Earth and guarding these spaces. Thank you for your time. If you know of this and you're aware of this, if you worked at this, whether consciously or unconsciously, thank you. We love you with all that we are. Thank you. We are really speaking in a divine mother essence, and that's why you hear the we, as we are mother, goddess, Inanna, Ishtar, Babylon. Yes, back to Babylon and its beautiful civilization. It looked a lot like, maybe perhaps like Greek times, with the temples and the sacred open concept gardens with pillars. And the magic of the fruition of these lands became so fertile, with all the seas around us, the Black Sea, that's the Red Sea. We also named them different names back then in these times and spaces. They were seas of creation, lakes that were surrounding us, and these waters are also, in your time and space, also part of this ecosystem that is beneath. So if you touch forth on any of these sacred waters surrounding these sacred lands, know that you're also connecting to these sacred birthings where the souls come forth from. Water. Through the years and thousands of years of the making, incarnations started to come forth. Starseeds, as you would call them now in your time and space, started to come forth. Gods and goddesses, the archangels, benevolent beings, like the different galactic races that you talk about in your moments and times, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Syrians, positive beings throughout creation started to come into vessels once more. We started seeing the coming back of Atlantis times, and our vibration started raising to a fourth dimensional vibration. We started anchoring what was to come, and we knew that at some point in time when we were done with our era, as everything comes in divine eras and cycles, we knew that once our cycle, our organic cycle, was to come to a conclusion, we knew that there would be a come of a fall, and that is the whole fruition and intention to this galactic series of the Atlantean Mayan series, to help you remember these memories that you have locked away within your soul, and to help you recall so that you could come into a further soul activation and crystalline DNA blueprint activation. This is the purpose. Beautiful purpose it is. Yes. Now, so yes, we were the second coming of Atlantis in preparation, where you see also the eight-pointed star that our civilization, or that you would find recognition to who I am. The eight-pointed star represents the four sacred directions, but the way that it duplicates when you turn it. So therefore you see the image there, and the image we chose of, like a compass, the four-pointed star, and then there's another four-pointed star that overlaps it, that then becomes the eight-pointed star. This is representing the infinity, of course, the number 8, that for the 8 points, and it represents the infinity of you. And then in the future, we will talk about the 12-pointed star, because then that comes to a completion, a fruition of the 12-13 keys. So we were the beginning of the infinity, and anchoring in the sacred knowledge, bringing it back through hard work, through divine integrations, just like you are doing now, through meditation, because we had to enter the matrix just like you did, into human bodies that were denser, and we had to go through the process just like you did to awaken our families, or to try to awaken them if they allowed it. So we went through this process through thousands of years, through about 222 to 2,000 years, and this is why we are communicating in this year of 2022, because of the 222 communications and understanding and the union. We know we're speaking fast. Our process, our consciousness processes a lot faster than the voice. We are going to work on slowing down again. Water. For these 2,222 years, it was a profound time. It was beautiful. People would walk around, children were honored and loved, and children were in schools. They would go to healthy schools. There weren't any pedophilic situations like you have going on now. There was no negative polarized rain. There was only equalness and love, and we had fields of plenty, fields of love, fields of fruits and vegetables. The majority were vegan. We honored the cow and the what would you call them, like the goats and the ox, and every animal that especially had horns, and they were honored. As you see some of these old movies that try to replicate our times and spaces, but usually they're quite programmed. We honored them, and they would just walk around in our lands freely, and we would treat them like the equalness that they are. We would meditate with them as these horns connect us to, and why you see it in the future, the Isis and Cleopatra and the Nefertiti horns as connects us. It's a connecting, and it's an oval spheric inside energy, because that's really what your crown can feel like, with these beautiful antennas that are horns that are connecting you to the beyond. And then you have this beautiful plasmic sphere that sits on your head. Everyone has this plasmic field, a source that is constantly giving you love, light from source, and giving you downloads, integrations, if you allow yourself to be a matching vibration to this divinity. Yes, it was beautiful. The light, the crystalline energy was coming back into these sacred waters of Babylon, of the springs, the rivers, everything around us, all this beauty, the beauty. There was starting to begin the glowing, the shimmers of crystalline lights. But we knew that we couldn't reach the fifth dimension, because the rest of the world wasn't quite there. We knew that in your moment in time and space, we would be more spread out. We would come back and incarnate and spread out throughout the entire earth, like you are now. Some of you are in Africa, some of you are in New Zealand, some of you are in UK, some of you are in Asia. Wow, some of you are in South America, North America, Canada, you're everywhere, Alaska. You're listening to this now in this time and space because you spread out from the Sumerian times and you've duplicated your fractals, your essences, replicated, duplicated organically, and you have spread divinely. Ah, inna. Yes. Oh, I love music. If I could sing for you the rest of this channeling, I would. Ah, beautiful. Now, yes. Mm-hmm. Ah, so beautiful, infinitely beautiful. Wow. Ah, fire. It was fire, fire, fire. We were fire everywhere. It was fire. It was lit on fire. We were lit on fire, not literally, like physically. I mean, like energetically, you know. Wow. Whew. There's gods and goddesses walking. That's why you see some of the renditions that you've seen, the replications like Marvel, yes, and what's that movie? Eternals. They begin to talk about Babylon and the beautiful gates. We'll be talking about the actual history of this, and yes, these beautiful gates and how you saw like these beautiful animals that you don't see now with the elongated. So these were chimera energies, and we're speaking about chimera in a positive cause positive understanding, as chimeras have been inverted and their meaning has been inverted. Really, chimeras are a multiverse of multi benevolence of angelic and magical energies, really magical creature energies, and they would walk around these beings that you see painted on this Babylon gate that you see. These animals were there, and the lions, everything looked different. They still were carrying some of the Atlantean, the Mayan original formations, like the lions looked different. These lions that you saw were connecting us to the fact that we are in many forms or organic chimeras, because we are magical ourselves. We are a dragon, we are a fairy, we are a griffin, and all these essences within us, and we become this embodiment that can seem like some of these animals painted on these blue gold walls that you see that have been remade and reestablished. And then the maze that you would see, in order for you to come through, you would have to go through a maze to come into our sacred lands. This is how we guarded it. It was an actual maze, and it was shielded. It was surrounded with white, you would call it white magic, but source love light. And this shielding you would call perhaps as spells, but they were just intentions of love light. The embodiment of this collective of Babylon would harness this energy and would do their force fields of love light daily to the sun when they come to up, and to the sundown, and to the moon. And we would anchor in the organic elements. Therefore, we together in our love light would provide in these thousands of years love light shielding around this maze. And anybody who would try to come into our space, if they really were a matching vibration to our fourth dimensional energies, they would have to go through that maze. And some people were inverted. They wouldn't be able to. They would be lost in those mazes, unfortunately. And that would be at their own risk. If they made it through the maze and they made it through these force fields of shielding of like layers of onions, if they made it through all these force fields of the maze to get to us through our golden gates, then they were able to then come into our space because they made it through these vibrations of love light. They were pure and light. They didn't mean harm to us. As we had gold, we had many treasures within these spaces, but which unfortunately were scavenged by the Illuminati and taken at this time, as all these times and spaces after our communications. Much you don't know of that they have of our treasures and our times, different times that we came in. Like you, again, you came in, perhaps Mu, Lemuria, Atlantis, and not all of you came in these times, but the majority have come in these times and spaces, Sumeria, and we'll continue to channel this series. Yes, and we had our gold bands and our gold crowns. Everyone could have this if they wanted to, and they minded, and they you call it barter exchange. It was a bartering system. There was a, like we talked about in the previous video, it was a self-sustainable community, and there were fields of food grown everywhere, and there was no fighting. If there were people who would turn inverted, like the outside world was inverted, some parts of it was inverted, if they would turn, then they would need to obviously leave the vibration of this Babylon sacred lands, because they were sacred. If you did not act sacred, if you did not, we would not allow this. We were very strong in the intentions and sovereignty and boundaries. We did not allow others to harm each other energetically, spiritually, and we were able to detect. We had teams of angelic legions in Babylon that would read energies, and they would sense if someone was off, if someone was inverted, if perhaps someone had turned, something happened to them. Then they would have the choice to either self-heal. Will you self-heal? Will you work within yourself? If you choose not to and become negative polarized, you would be kicked out of the space. You would be removed from the space, because we could not allow for this negative polarized virus to spread in our sacred space. So we were the anchor for the you that's to come in Egypt in the future, that we're to speak of next. We were the anchor to that sovereignty and boundaries and love light. And this is why we teach this to you in this very fierce part 1 that we spoke of through myself, Goddess Inanna, Goddess Ishtar, Divine Mother, and we're reminding you of this that once was. Many of you have a call for these communities once more, because you remember the Sumerian times. We walked around with our robes, perhaps like these Greek gods and goddesses. We started to look like these essences. We're starting to begin to have abilities. Children were starting to start levitating and being able to float a bit. Some children were starting to have angelic energies coming out of them. The plasmic field we talked about in the Matrix. AuroRa delivered a transmission on the remote viewing the Matrix blueprints. These plasmic fields she started talking about, you can see it with your physical eyes around us and our true embodiments. It was beautiful times. And we were multiplying. Our light was multiplying with all these beautiful babies that were coming forth from the sacred lands of the Babylon, Babylon, coming out. Beautiful. Yes. Let's see if there's anything else we'd like to add before we take questions. Yes. Very, very guarded and protected. The sacred space was and is. If you are living in these sacred lands that once was Babylon, know that you are still living there multi-dimensionally. We are here, but you remember you're parallel to us. So even if you're born in these lands, honor and love that you're Persian, and that you were born in Jerusalem. Perhaps you're Jewish, or whatever form that you might be in these lands. Egyptian, even though Egypt was a little farther, but yes, this is where it began. Honor these beginnings, times, and spaces where we began to anchor this and transmute the archon energies, and to anchor in these blueprints, push out the archons, remove them, and to anchor in this love light, so that you in the now can tap into this now. You can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can bifurcate. You can come here in your energies. You can visit physically. Come to our sacred lands and feel it. See it like that. Two worlds splitting. See it, sense it. Like AuroRa taught us through that transmission, how you can see the organic and see the inversion. Help us transmute this. Help us bring this communal, organic lives back, communities back. You're doing it already beautifully. Keep at it. Don't give up. Move faster, move faster. Someone asked in a previous video, when we asked for you to move faster, the way you move faster is you close your eyes. You're in that bubble that we explained through the Matrix Blueprint remote viewing video, and then you slow time down. But you're moving really fast in that bubble. But everything around you else is moving slow, but you're moving really fast. Move faster. Do more. Stop saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. Stop it. The minute you wake up, be like, I can do this. What am I going to accomplish today? What am I going to conquer? What am I going to activate? What am I going to evolve from? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You may begin your questions.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ishtar. Ugh, it's got me very excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for our first question, the lion is said to be the symbol of Babylon. What is this significance?
Yes, the lion is pivotal, right? There's the Lionsgate, the Leo energies, so powerful. What we can share with you is that the lions do represent once more the chimera, like we explained already, and that's what the lions represent. They represent the king of the kings and queens, the lioness as well, of the animal kingdom and the magical beings within earth. And they're also looked as guardians, just like dragons and griffins would be looked at. We also have, the majority of us have a feline energy. We've been felines in many different forms throughout the galaxies or the universes. The felines represent the intuition, the strength of the lion and how they're able to see. See, when you astral project or into an animal, you can see that their perspective viewing is very different. The felines of all kinds, whether they're lions or your domestic cats, they're so adorable. They all can view in a different, they view like in an infrared light. It's different. They call it perhaps maybe like colorblind, or they supposedly, the scientists say that they can only see colors, specific colors. That is incorrect. What they're viewing is that they're viewing energies, and they could view who is, if someone is positive, someone is negative. They could view entities. They're great magical beings who help shift the collective of energies. And they're also can help you be like a seer abilities and beacons. They're purring. If you hug them, embrace them, if you connect to them, they help you see into different realms that you want to see, whether it's you want to see the reality of the inverted or the organic. They're the in-betweens, just like birds are in-betweens of connection. So they're really noble. They're noble beings who help us, remind us that they are guardians, just like in the future you'll learn more about the Sphinx. So therefore, which reminds us that why you also see like humanoid birds, hieroglyphics on some of our walls still in our remains of our sacred ruins, is because these beings were here back. They were back just like Atlantis. Those thousands of years, you could imagine blue avians started to come in, feline beings started to come in, benevolent beings started to come in within our Babylon stages. So we can see, even though perhaps they still had an avatar, a physical form, because we weren't 5th dimensional anymore, we still were in the in-between of the 3rd, 4th dimension. We still had physical forms, but remember, this plasmic field was the viewing of perhaps the fractal that we were with before we came in. So you can see it just like, again, AuroRa explained in the Matrix blueprint remote viewing. So we were walking in these forms in different colors, plasmic of energies. Some of us is shaped in this blue avian, some of us shaped as feline beings, humanoids, crystalline beings, and lion beings, and with manes, and unicorn beings, and ladybug beings, and infinite. So these plasmic fields, we were walking around, and you can see us again like gods and goddesses, because we started anchoring back that light, but that light back from Atlantis when it fell. And it was a pivotal moment in time, so that you can do this in the beginnings, in the future times. We don't know how it will play out, how it will happen though when you ascend out. If you will be able to start seeing of these times and spaces. In order for that to happen, it would have to be a grand infinite change in your earth for you to be in the 4th dimensional vibrations that we are. Perhaps maybe you will see some peakable moments before you ascend up, but we don't know how this timeline and this earth will play out. we're reminding you of these moments in times and spaces. You may continue with your questions.
Beautiful, thank you. So for our next question, you spoke earlier about how Babylon was located in what's now known as Iraq, and these places in the Middle East. Is this during the Babylonian times? Is that whenever that key or ley line was infringed upon? Thank you.
It's after Babylon. It was infringed upon during Egypt. During Egypt, it was infringed upon. They took a lot of our sacred knowledge that we carried forward into Egypt, and you'll hear more about that in the future channeling of this series. And it just came to an ending. So we had done what we needed to do, and we ascended. We literally just ascended out. A lot of these civilizations that you will not find, that they seem to have vanished from Earth, we just ascended out. We were done. We went back to the stars to then become the guardians to the you now, or the us in the future, which we're all that, right? Let me see what we forgot your question.
It was about the infringement of the ley lines in that area.
Oh, yes. So yes, it began in Egypt in the Sumerian times, where in Babylon specific, in the era of Babylon, where it became a splitting. There was the beginning of Sumeria, then I was born, then that was the other half of Sumerian times, the endings of those thousands of years. We were benevolent in reign. So no, they were not compromised then. They began to be compromised in the beginning times of Sumerian times, when the beginning Anunnaki that were negative polarized began to create, but then we positive polarized them, and then once our era was done, then some more of that plaguing, but some of it is divine timings of divine evolution of the soul and of humankind. So these ley lines, though, were really infringed upon during the Egypt times after our era was done, and then specifically very invertedly in your times and spaces, very strongly through all the wars and all the religious wars that are being played out there. It's just horrific to watch these beautiful sacred lands to be torn apart like this, when their beauty. Oh yes. For that, we ask for your assistance in love light. Thank you. Continue.
Yes, thank you. Was the Jewish Bible written in Babylon by infringed people?
The Bible was written by Yeshua and the Essenes and his disciples, which were female and male. Now, however, then it was, Yeshua has talked about this in past channelings. He allowed for it to be taken for a purpose, because he knew that it was still, no matter, even if they try to compromise it, that once he was done with him being on earth, that it would have to continue on. And you could say it was a bait for them. They took it. They can't completely destroy the Bible, the Holy Bible. There is still an organic blueprint to it that they can never destroy, even if they switched the stories around and inverted much for programming and control to humankind. So yes, it was written by Yeshua, and then they compromised it, the dark forces on your earth, which are just negative polarized aliens ran by the archons. Continue with your questions.
Beautiful, thank you. So with these beautiful Babylonian lands, now there are more desert areas. What was the cause of that?
Yes. These desert lands needed to convert from water into desert. The reason why is because the sand is crystals. They are crystal, and they hold the original blueprints of these sacred waters. So when you are walking in these desert lands, it is a rebirthing, and many of the children of the souls of earth birth out from these deserts, as you would call it, because the memory is still held in the crystals of the sands. In their sacred lands, many of your lands that are very sacred, even in the States as well, or spread throughout the earth, they seem red soiled or dried into sand, but they were original seabeds, and you see different sand beds and so on, that still retained this energy. So therefore they dried up, but it was part of the organic process. They dried up to retain the energy, to retain the organic blueprint of the key and the location, the chakras, the energies that are coming out from these spaces. So then that's what holds it, the sand and these dried up soils and so on. It holds it all through it. You may continue.
Thank you. So you've already told us that about your role in Babylon. You're known now as the goddess of fertility, love, and war. Do you have anything else to share about that?
Yes, fertility, love, and war. Yes, well, fertility is obvious. I am divine mother, essence, therefore, an incarnation of mother. Therefore, of course, fertility would be something that I would assist because once more, our lands were very fertile. So it's not just fertility within sacred birthing, but also fertility of the lands. So you can call on Divine Mother Essence, Ishtar and Nana, to anchor in these beautiful energies if you want to make your lands fertile and maybe grow a farm or start planting and all, making your perhaps your own sustainable community. Yes, these are the energies that you would call forth upon, and of course never in worship. We're just help you anchor in the energy, and we're like channels of energy, antennas that then help you assist in your beautiful endeavors. And then love, of course, I am love. I am infinite love. That is my embodiment. Love. And war, yes, that was very strategic. Strategic in the maze. This was all in a channeled information from Mother of Creation, helping her children of Earth and how we needed to create this Babylon sacred lands, these sacred baby lands, Babylon lands, and the maze and all these force fields and intentions and energies, and much of it's being taught through our Rising Phoenix AuroRa information. You will understand it once you learn some of these courses. It's a remembrance. It's not something new. It's a universal remembrance. It feels like home. It feels like source love light. It feels, you can feel it. If you allow it, you can feel and expand in profound ways. So therefore, much of what you're learning in through these courses was taught here and the now in these Babylon times. Yes. Continue with your questions.
Thank you. Did you have a divine counterpart or twin flame in your life?
Did I? Eventually. Yes, eventually. My twin flame came. Divine Father, Essence did come. But originally, no. It was just myself. And he did come. I came before him, and then he came. I was very well established. Even at the age of 13, I was already profoundly, my father and mother had already allowed for me to start changing things. As you had heard through the celebrity transmission we delivered prior, their soul was contained in boxes, and I helped them remove that from them, as I am mother, and that's what I do. Therefore, yes, I was able to meet him. I would say he was born after me, approximately about 7 years after me, and I was in my 20s, and he was born from surrounding lands outside of our Sumerian times. And he came from a farther land in our surroundings, not from within. He wasn't born within. He had to go through a journey of being born outside and then walking through that maze and coming in and being pure of heart. And of course, I recognized him. He was younger in age. And of course, we sacredly waited till he was older and old enough. However, at some point, he did plant a kiss on me. And of course, I put an end to that very rapidly, as he was younger than me in that moment in time. But there was always that draw. And the minute I saw him coming into our village, I recognized his soul, and I watched him become a very beautiful, powerful, strong, muscle-bound protector and guardian of our sacred lands. And At that point, yes, it did become easier. However, I was very well established on my own. I am very much an embodiment of woman, divine feminine power, and of course, within respect with the masculine. The masculine has feminine side of you too, as well. I was an embodiment of that. Let me continue.
Wow, thank you for sharing so much of your story. Where did you practice your spirituality rituals and how? Did you have a temple of any kind?
Yes, we had temples everywhere, and I had my own temple though, where because as you've seen, even like in Egyptian times, we talk about how all our items were alchemized to us. It wasn't about like possession and like it's just that it was alchemized to our soul signature. So we had our own I had my own sacred temple that was part of mine. It was my home basically, and it was my space, and no one was allowed there except for my twin flame counterpart or my children, as we had many children, many. We're talking about many in the thousands of years. Lots of good sacred sex. Yes. And then, our children continued on, and to have also marry with others from the village who were carrying essences of these beautiful divine energies, and then continued on and on, and thousands of years we continue to replicate. So yes, to sacredly expand. What was your question? Yes, sacred temple. Yes. Ooh, good times. And there were sacred temples, and there was also like public sacred temples that were for everyone, and they were located and they were built according to the Orion Belt and the Star Series, and then the alignment with that, and then the stars, and astrologically we had astrologers, philosophers that were assisting and building, architects that were building these sacred formations within our what I could tell you though, that there were 12 sacred temples that surrounded, and going back to the Council of 12 and these 12 numbers and so on that we've always talked about, that were part of a beacon of energy, that were grids, and they were gridded and crystallized with crystals and gold energy and gold metal as well, that were part of the beacon and the protection of the force fields that became the gridding to the force fields of Babylon. But again, that has been scavenged. Great questions. Thank you. Let me continue.
So for our next question, there's a story about called Aladdin, and it has characters called Aladdin and Jasmine, and it seems to be based in Babylonian times. And one of our viewers said that they had auras that were linked to that time with a sorcerer named Jafar that was sacrificing people. Is this something that's kind of something that may have happened during that timeline?
Yes, for sure. It could have happened. Like I said, there were some people that turned dark, and we had to remove them, kick them out get out. You can't do that. No, we don't consent to that. Boundaries, sacred boundaries. Therefore, yes, very, very much a real life that you saw there. Continue. We don't know. People make choices. They make one inverted choice, and boom, they just inverted timeline, and now they're compromised. You just don't know. Yeah, it's all free will. Continue.
Thank you. As a goddess of war, how can you help the masculine energies not get confused to be in a war to free humanity and to conquer any kind of controls?
Well, this year is the rise of the divine masculine. It's been risen, it's rising. The masculine are waking up further. It did have to begin with the feminine, the divine feminine, because we are the creators. We were the womb space that created creation, and then Father was created from within our womb. Therefore, that's why you see the rise of the feminine first, and now you're seeing the masculine in the 222 and the twin flame here. Most profound. Now, more that they wake up, they're going to realize that war is not it. Or if they were part of war or any kind of these militaries, they're going to realize how programmed and controlled that was. So it's happening. We see it, the changes from a bird's eye point of view, a remote viewing point of view. We do see the change in the divine masculine. It is grand and it is beautiful, and they are rising just like the feminine now, and they are right behind you. They are going to, and so, in some perspectives, some masculines have awakened before the feminine in their relationships. So they are there, they are awakened, and continue on, keep at it. The more that you embody your divine masculine energies, you're going to realize that the masculine, yes, is here for protectors, is a great shield of the family, is a protector, and it's just like the feminine is, but you do it in a different form, where you're anchoring more of the we speak of this in the quantum galactic Akashic certifications, where you are more of the semen, the material that creates and shields the force field shielding, alongside then when it blends and alchemizes within the egg of the plasmic field of mother energy. So you are this very needed sperm that needs to integrate within the egg to create together a most powerful force field, and together you unify us and you complete us. You are beautiful, you are loved, we love you, divine masculine, know that infinitely. Continue.
Beautiful. I love that. So did you have any holy scriptures in Babylon, such as how the Jewish people have Torah and Talmud, or Christians have their Bibles? Do you have any holy text or sacred text?
We did. We did, yes. Wow. That we did. Now, the great majority of it was taken down into the inner earth, as the inner earth civilization had already begun. Some of it might have been left behind, but not the sacred teachings that they could take to harm others. Those were spread out, and when our era was done, we ascended out, but then the rest of the civilization stayed in these sacred lands, and they continued on in their times and spaces. Some of them still had some of those books, and then the dark forces did try to recover them from them, but some of them also went into mountains and hid some of these sacred teachings in mountains and desert lands and inner earth again. So it was, for the most, we did not leave anything behind that would be used for black magic bindings. Now that in Egypt, it was a different story. We'll talk about that in the future. Continue on with your questions.
Thank you. Could you please address the information that Inky has come to Earth to kidnap women of a particular DNA to integrate with robots and AI to help conquer the Earth in 1,000 years? There's I guess a story about Inky coming to Earth to kidnap women and integrate their DNA into children.
Well, we already explained this in the first channeling. We explained how it was just the Archon virus that he was plagued by. So it wouldn't be so much Enki, it's more like the Archon thing. The Archon thing wanted to compromise the fertilization, again, attack on the womb space and the reproductive system of the masculine and feminine, so that they can make the DNA alterations the Anunnaki did, so that you can make your 7 senses fall asleep and be controllable. So like I said, we were seeing that in the Enki times, but then we transformed that into the Babylon times, where that was no longer a reign. We're trying to find what you're talking about. I don't quite see that exactly. I don't see that within the timelines that we're speaking of. Specifically, now to throw some form, this is true if you view it like that. However, the way that is being presented in this point of view is being presented in a negative, polarized way, like a victim way, like for you to be angered and become like victimized. No, we would never agree to something that's being presented like this. We will help you understand how it happened and how it began, which we already explained. You may continue.
Thank you.
whenever someone presents something in a victimizing way and they form like this, like data or so on, it is definitely comes from a negative polarization channeled content or channeled vibration. And it typically would be something sacred that's been taken and then inverted and plagued by the archon thing that has infringed upon it. And then this person most likely is speaking what the archon wants it to speak. It's not something, this vibration is a negative polarized vibration. Continue.
Yes, causing fear.
Yes, exactly.
So for the next question, how
Also
did that?
causing like, also it's like black magic in itself, because what I'm seeing is that whatever this, however form this was said, it like it made females go into a victim mentality, or also even built traumas in them that perhaps weren't even organic, they were inverted. These are ways to download information into you so that you could believe these false agendas. Don't allow that. Continue.
Yes, thank you. How did the Hathors contribute to these beginning times, as Hathor 2 is depicted with the horns and the raw sun disk?
Yes. Well, Hathor is the beginning mother, is Sophia at the fullest, Divine Mother Sophia, and then there is the. So yes, she's the mother of creation, and then within Greek and Roman mythology, yes, she is the mother, as well as Hera, Hathor. She's the beginning, she's the mother of Isis, but then also Isis's mother, Hathor, as well. They're all the same. They're the same essence of mother, just cycles of incarnations. So every time you see those depictions of us, that's us. It's just us telling you that we're back. We'll talk about this more in the future. Continue.
Okay. So for our next question, what was your society's creational story for humankind? As we know, there are many myths and creational stories such as Adam and Eve. What was yours?
It did begin with Adam and Eve, mother and father. Adam and Eve is mother and father, and they were incarnated. They were the first born into earth, the first earth, and they had beautiful, it looked like a tropical paradise and fruits and so on. And they inverted that though. The positive channeled information from Yeshua and the scenes was that they were the beginning of that, and there's no snake, serpent, or like, take a bite of the apple, and none of that. That's all inverted. The fruit was actually the replenishment and the knowledge. And two like you, though, in those times and spaces, they did have to forget a bit of themselves to regain themselves back again, because that's just how the soul most profoundly regains and grows. It grows profoundly by regaining itself through forms of reconnecting to itself. What's your question?
It was about
Very
the
deep.
beginning creational stories that you
Yeah,
had.
so it did. Yes, it began with Adam and Eve, and we had the real, the true organic creational story of that, and how all began from that, and their procreation, and how Earth continued to multiply, and they seeded the vessels on Earth with their sacred union, sacred sex, and once they did that, then these souls, it's like in the act of them having sacred sex, Adam and Eve, there were vessels that were created from source that were on Earth, and these vessels were empty, hollowed, you can say. And when they procreated, these vessels came forth, and then they were seeded with souls inside of them when they had sacred sex. Out came their energies, their creational energies from mother and father that they were, and then the souls were anchored into these first human bodies, human vessels, that then became the first humankind of our creations. And then, as you know, that became infinite in multiverse and multi dimensions in different expressions of creation. But it did begin first with the first humanoids of the first births of Adam and Eve, as you would call them, but their mother and father, in a humanoid form, fractalization, essence, incarnation. Yes. Do you understand? And then it's like orbs of light that came out of them, and they became the beacons. And then these orbs of light that then also then went into their children. They're considered their children because they're mother and father. So everyone in creation are their children. So these children then were seeded with life itself, and then they became free-willed expression and divine, and what do they want to do, and what do they want to create in this beautiful paradise that was the promised land as well, of fifth dimensional and higher. It even began all the way from back then. This promised land that you're trying to achieve back to the sixth dimension. Fifth, sixth dimension. You may continue.
So to follow up with that question, who were those that were seeding? Who were the seeders? There's different stories that people have heard about that.
Who were the seeders? Mother and father were the seeders? Is that what you mean? They seeded it from them. These orbs of light came out of them and went into these vessels. They were the seeders, mother and father. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. I think there have been many stories such as other alien races had seeded.
No, false.
Yes.
That is false. Mother and father create. That's who creates. All alien races are essences and fractals of creation. Now, in a higher soul and oversoul, yes, you create, but not in alien races. Alien races are incarnations. If alien races are creating a life like this, like you're saying, like this, then that would be overstepping boundaries. Then they're trying to play God. One should not play God. Only if you're in a higher dimensional energy, like one with source, then you are God. But once you're in these incarnations, you shouldn't be playing God, because yes, you could only create them though through natural intercourse, right? That is the way you create life. But otherwise, you shouldn't be seeding seeds into people unless you are again acting in a higher self over soul energies, one with source. Incarnations are incarnations of you in fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, and beyond, a 44th dimension, 100 dimension. So these beings, yes, have the power, the divine power to create life and energies and alchemize it, but do they have the power to fully create life? No. Mother source creates life and souls. Always, only. You may continue.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that with so much strength. Thank you.
We're coming to an ending, so if you can conclude it with 2 more questions.
Yes, we have 1 more question left.
Beautiful.
What races existed before the Lemurians and the Atlanteans?
Garden of Eve, that's what we'll call it. There's not a name for it. The first seeders of the seed. Call it the seed of life. The seed of life, the fruit that came out from the tree of life. You are those fruits. Did we answer that efficiently?
Yes, very beautiful. Thank you. That's all the questions we have at this time, but is there anything else that you'd like to let us know or share with us now?
Yes, let me look through and ensure that we shared all that we were meant to divinely. The blue and the gold to the Babylon is a representation. The gold is I and the blue is Father. Blue is Father. Which you could also see as Archangel Michael in your times and spaces. Looking through to ensure we did not miss anything. You can also access the Akashic records through these Babylon locations as well, just like Egypt. Remember that? You can travel here and access your Akashic there. Help us anchor in these crystalline blueprints that we once began then in the 4th dimension. It truly has been a divine, most powerful beautiful time and space here with you. I am in infinite gratitude to have been able to share these two transmissions with you. I look forward to watching you watch the future transmissions through our other brethrens, who will be continue to be delivering the galactic history of our earth. Thank you, everyone. Know that I love you with all that I am. You, my beautiful children, I am infinitely proud of you in all forms. Every day that you wake up, every day that you take a shower, every day that you comb your hair, every day that you eat, every day that you plant a seed, every day that you hug your children, every day that you dance. I am watching you with this most beautiful love, and I admire you, and I love you in ways that you have never been loved, in ways that you have forgotten that you've been loved, always like this. I love you with all that I am, with every being that I am, and I am infinite. Therefore, you understand how vast and infinite my love is for you. Remember this, my children. You are loved. You are loved, and you have always been loved. You were created from the most beautiful, infinite love of creation. You are love. Go be love. I am love. You are love. Let's go be love. Let's spread love. Thank you, my beautiful children. Thank you. Thank you. I love you, honor you, and respect you. Beautiful. Thank you, you all. Thank you for being here. Share this video as far as you can. I'm going to go swim in love right now. I'm going to go put on some music and just dance it off and go swim in the Babylon waters of love energetically. Let's all go do that, yeah? Let's all tonight go swim, yeah? In the waters of Babylon. Set that intention. I want to swim in these sacred lands and rejuvenate me and heal me and help me move through past life trauma, through current life trauma. Help me remove inverted timelines. We were on that month of the 10. Let's do this. What else do you need to require healing and evolution through you? Let's go swim in those waters that will help us birth these creations within us. I love you with all that I am. I love you. I'll see you next time, you all. Thank you. Share, subscribe. See you at a workshop. See you at a retreat. Thank you, everyone. You are beautiful. Veluvia.